Hey, what up guys, hope you're well. Welcome back to another episode of Game School, part 2 of my review of PlayStation VR Free Content. Now, I've already sort of, like I say, done the first part of this, really just talking about the demo disc that is available, which should be available when you get if you buy a new headset. And also there's a few experiences that came out last night that I just enjoyed playing. One of them being The Last Guardian, and another one being it's almost like a promotional sort of VR element to Stranger Things, which is a Netflix original series, which is pretty cool. So I just talked a little bit about the games that are on the disc, and also these other sort of demos that are available. But it is free content, so if you have just got yourself a headset, or you're thinking about getting one, or you're going to possibly get one for Christmas, you're going to want to know, obviously, where can you get your games? Obviously you can download them, but more importantly, where can you get some free stuff and just try a load of things out before you part with your hard-earned cash. Now, what I wanted to sort of do in this section, because there is a lot of content out there. There's around 150 sort of games and experiences already, and that is obviously going to go crazy over Christmas with so many things being released. But yeah, value for money wise, go out and sort of check out all the available free content. So I just thought I'd sort of give you a little bit of a heads up on that, and maybe just talk a little bit about a few of the the things that I've tried. Now, some of the other things that I've actually tried from the past, when I first got my headset, because I got my headset, I was a very early adopter of this technology and got it when it first came out. Now, the Resident Evil 7 is just a fantastic game, but actually there is a demo version as well, so you can just play the first, literally the first 20-30 minutes of it. I think it might be a bit longer than that. It might be about an hour's worth of play, so you can play one part of it. There's also a kitchen demo, and the kitchen demo is literally, it's not in the game, it's not really part of the game, to be perfectly honest with you. It's just an experience of sitting in the family's really creepy kitchen with one of your buddies that you're tied up, and it's just how this whole sort of episode sort of unravels before you. There's not much you can do in it. You can literally just sit there and observe what's going on, but I think for a demo of what showing what the PlayStation can do, and it is it's terrifying at the same time. So if you want to scare your friends and your family, your mum, your sister, your dad, your grandparents, whoever, this is a really worth in Resident Evil demo. So yeah, have a check of that, the kitchen demo. That's pretty cool as well. You've also got classical music lovers. You've got a VR experience for a guy called Joshua Bell. Now, this is really good actually. This just puts you in the position of it's literally like a private concert for yourself, albeit it's only one part of a classical piece. What you actually get to do, you sit in an area where in front of Joshua while he's playing the violin, and it's I can't remember the name of it, being accompanied by a pianist in a recording studio, and they've actually recorded it in like a church, or a church hall or something like this, just obviously to get the correct acoustics. But you can look around and see the guys in the booth in the recording studio behind you, look around, and while this is all going on, and this is like a live experience almost. So it's a very cool, very cool just to sit there and watch what's going on, and just you can sort of see the wires sort of leading to all the mics, and it's a very nice experience. Again, if you're not into the classical stuff, maybe it isn't for you, but actually I really enjoyed this. And the other thing as well, you've got quite a few different experiences in terms of free games, free full games. So there's two really that spring to mind that I would highly recommend. One of them is the Rec Room. Now the Rec Room is essentially where you can go, it is what it is, you know, it's a recreational room where you can go and play different games. You can play football, you can play, you know, sort of basketball, you can play all these other sort of, you know, very, very cool games, frisbees, everything else, golf frisbee, all of that sort of thing, with, you know, a stack of people. And it is just good fun, you know, it really, really is just an absolute hoot. Once you get in there, you just want to stay there. Now again, it is done, it's almost like done on a you know, when the Wii first came out and you had these sort of hovering sort of characters around, you know, they're just sort of literally symbols of bodies with you know, detached hands and heads bobbing around. It's a little bit in that sort of style, but it is just good fun. It really, really is just good fun, and it is free, completely free. You don't have to pay a single penny, you just have to download it. So yeah, go and have a look at that, Rec Room. And the other one is the Playroom VR, you know, PlayStation Playroom VR. And this really just a collection of games, again showing what the PlayStation can do. And yes, some of them are quite childlike, quite sort of, you know, very, very kiddie, but they are still good fun. I'd still recommend going and playing them. They're still pretty good fun. So you've got several sort of games on this particular one, and the really, really good thing about this is that you can play these games and actually people around you that maybe aren't wearing headsets can actually interact with you as well. So they can see something on the TV screen that you can't see, and obviously you can see something in your headset that they can't see. So it makes, you know, playing these games very, very interactive. You're not normally just sitting there watching somebody play, you know, play their virtual game. It's a very, very, you know, social sort of setup, and both of these games are very social in a different way. So those games are again completely free. Download them, enjoy them, and have a hoot as well. So the other thing I just want to sort of really brush on very quickly is the sort of cinema element of VR, or the VR sort of experience side of things. Now there are some really, really cool apps out there. So obviously if you've got your PlayStation, get to the App Store, the apps part of it, and you can download some really cool VR experiences. Now there's some that are very good, some that this area is a little bit hit and miss, just purely because of the resolution of the PlayStation VR. It doesn't quite manage to sort of get everything every time, but they are pretty good. They are some pretty good sort of things out there. So you've got Jaunt, which is Jaunt, and this is like a cinematic experience. Now once you sort of download that and you sort of put your VR headset into that and start looking at the content in that, it just brings you into like a VR cinema world. So there's some sports things in there, there's movies that you can have a look at, there's animated sort of series you can have a look at, there's even a Mr. Robot sort of episode. So there's things like this that you can have a look at, and this sort of content I think is going to get big later on. You know, they even had a really, really cool bit with Paris Saint-Germain welcoming Neymar to the stadium. So obviously as the fans you know, showed up in their droves to welcome Neymar, this was all filmed in a VR experience, which I think the way they put it together is a little bit bitty, and again it really is just a demo to show, you know, what was going on. But I can see this application could be pretty amazing. What I really would love to see is like a virtual ticket to a football game or a sports game, or you know, imagine driving around in you know, a Formula 1 car in a virtual sense, you know, live. You know, you pay your ticket, £10, £20, whatever it is for your live virtual ticket, and you can sit there, stream, you know, like a live game. You know, maybe you could sit in the bench for you know, for your favourite team, you know, watching the team members going around, or stand next to the manager on the touchline, or you could just follow the play. you know, all of these different sort of angles. VR, I think, in this sort of aspect, you know, I don't think it's been utilised yet, and people with VR would pay, you know, to have this stuff done. I think this is a very, 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 very cool sort of area that maybe will come into the future, but at the moment it's a little bit hit and miss. Or a boxing match or something like this, that it would just be amazing. Or a concert, you know, but being in a, you know, on stage with your favourite pop star, it'd just be amazing. So there's a lot of those sort of experiences in this in the cinematic sort of side of it. So you've also got some other applications, one called Little Star, which is again very, very similar. It just shows you a few documentaries. You can sort of, you know, swim with whales, sharks, all these other things as well in the ocean. There's some very, very cool content there. I would highly recommend that. Go and have a look at it, and again, it is all for free. There's two other applications that I'd probably recommend to have a look at, but I think they've got a limited amount of content on them. One is called Within. Again, it's very similar to Little Star. It's just another one of these sort of VR worlds. And the other one is called Lens. Now Lens, I played for it, or I had a look at it for a little bit. I wasn't that impressed with it, if I'm honest, and I think it's more about the lack of content on it at the moment. But again, it's there, ready to go when the content really does kick in. But also, what I don't want you to forget about is YouTube. You know, or just, you know, the VR. You know, you Google, you put in VR experiences on YouTube, and a stat come out at work on the PlayStation VR. So essentially, you can sit in your room, fly in a plane, go up in a balloon, in a spaceship, go underground. You can, you know, all of these sort of, you know, experiences that look pretty good in VR. You can get them. The only thing I would say is, like I said, the sort of resolution of the PlayStation VR isn't quite there yet. Some of them are, you know, better than others, but hey, have a look around. I'm sure you'll see loads of content which you'll really enjoy. There's loads of music out there, and I'm sure, you know, you may find some of your, you know, favourite bands that are on there, but there is a wealth of free VR experiences that you can play on your PlayStation VR through YouTube and these other cinematic sort of areas. Now I think these are just gearing up, getting ready to watch a movie. I mean, you can imagine watching you know, Star Wars, you know, The Last Jedi, Star Wars The Last Jedi in a VR sort of scenario where you're actually in the movie. This stuff is, you know, this is where I would love to see VR to go to next, and it being crystal clear, you know, high definition, or as good as you could see, you know, without the VR on, you know, and really do sort of start drowning the boundaries between virtual and reality. But yeah, so that's really what I want to talk about. So if you have got your you know, unwrap your Christmas present, your VR headset, you're enjoying it, there is a good stack of free content. Go and have a look at it, enjoy it, and I hope this has been some sort of help for you. But hey, just to sort of leave you on one thing, there's no school like the old school, and I'm the headmaster. Have a good one.